most bizarre murder cases from one state. We're starting with Florida. And over the next 5 days, I'll be counting down the most bizarre cases the state has ever seen, from number 5 to number 1. And starting at number 5 is the case of Markeith Lloyd. In January 2017, Lloyd was already wanted for a previous unaliving after he unalived a woman in a Jacksonville Walmart. So police across the city were actively searching for him. Officer Deborah Clayton responded to a call outside of a nearby store. Surveillance footage later showed Lloyd waiting. When Officer Clayton arrived, there was no struggle, no warning. He opened fire multiple times in broad daylight, unaliving her in front of witnesses. What makes this case so bizarre isn't the method, it's the mindset. Lloyd knew law enforcement was looking for him, yet he chose to unalive an officer in public as if there was no consequences. He was captured after a massive manhunt and later sentenced with the DP. If this is only number 5 in Florida this week it's going to get much darker. This is Florida's number 4, and it's one of the most controversial murder cases in American history. Is Caylee Anthony. This is a case that still to this day sparks arguments, and it's been over a decade. In the summer of 2008, Caylee disappeared. What immediately raised red flags was that she wasn't reported missing by her mother. She was reported missing by her grandmother after more than 30 days. During that month, Caylee's mother, Casey Anthony, told friends and family that Caylee was with a nanny named Zenaida Gonzalez, a woman investigators later discovered didn't even exist. While Caylee was missing, Casey continued going out, socializing, even got a tattoo that said Bella Vita, meaning beautiful life. Months later, Caylee's remains was found in a wooded area near her house, less than a mile. Prosecutors do believe Caylee was murdered. But in 2011, a jury acquitted Casey Anthony of any murder charges. So what makes this case so bizarre isn't the verdict. It's the lies, the missing timeline. The fact that one of the most high-profile child murder cases in the U.S. history still has no clear answers. And this is only Florida's number 4. Number 3 drops tomorrow, and it's even harder to understand. Coming in at number 3, Florida's most bizarre murder case is the story of Tyler Hadley, a case that's unsettling because of what happened after the unalivings took place. In 2011, 18-year-old Tyler Hadley unalived both of his parents inside their home in Port St. Lucie. After doing so, he moved their bodies into a bedroom, stacked them, and he attempted to conceal them. Instead of leaving or calling for help, Hadley sent out invites for a house party. Over the course of the night, dozens of teenagers came and went, dancing, drinking, completely unaware that there were 2 bodies just feet away from them. At one point, Hadley even showed a photo of his parents to one of his friends, treating it like a joke rather than a crime. That moment is what ultimately led police to be called. What makes it so bizarre is the emotional detachment. The ability to celebrate, socialize, and pretend nothing happened while standing in the same house as the victims. Tyler later confessed and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And this is only Florida's number 3. This case turned everyday life into a constant state of fear. Coming in at number 2 on Florida's most bizarre murder cases is the Seminole Heights serial unalivings. This is a case that terrified an entire Tampa neighborhood. In the fall of 2017, 4 people were murdered at random in the Seminole Heights area, all receiving a GSW while walking along near bus stops, along the street. The victims had no connections with each other. Different ages, different backgrounds. The only common factor was where they happened to be. Wrong place, wrong time. The randomness is what made this case so disturbing. There were no patterns that people could avoid. No time of day, no specific target. Residents were afraid to leave their homes. Businesses closed early, and the police flooded the area while the community waited for the next unaliving. For weeks, investigators had almost nothing to go on until a man walked into a McDonald's and handed an employee a pew-pew, asking them to hold on to it. That employee recognized the weapon from police alerts that immediately called authorities. The man was identified as Howell Donaldson III. Ballistics later that pew to all 4 of the unalivings. So what makes this case so bizarre isn't the actual unalivings themselves. It's how ordinary life became dangerous and how close the suspect was just hiding in plain sight. And this is only Florida's number 2. Tomorrow's number 1, and it's the most infamous case in Florida. Coming in at number 1 on Florida's most bizarre murder cases is Aileen Wuornos. She's one of America's infamous female serial unalivers. Between 1989 and 1990, she unalived 7 men along Florida highways. She said she acted in self-defense, but she was hitchhiking and working as a worker. She said these men SA'd her. Prosecutors argue something very different. Now, what makes this case so disturbing isn't the number of victims, the complexity. Wuornos was a woman, a rarity among serial unalivers. She had a long history of homelessness, mental illness, and yet the jury rejected her claims of self-defense, convicted her of multiple counts. Wuornos was sentenced to end of life in 2002. To this day, people still argue whether she was a cold-blooded unaliver, victim of lifelong violence, or something far more complicated. That is why this is Florida's number 1, because even decades later, no one agrees on what the truth really was. Next week, we'll have a whole new state. Will it be yours?